Sarah Mitchell sat alone at a small wooden table near the window of the Copper Bean Café. Her hands wrapped around a warm cup of coffee, the steam rising in gentle curls toward her tired face. Outside, the autumn rain tapped softly against the glass, blurring the city streets into watercolor streaks of gray and gold. She had been working double shifts at St. Mary's Hospital for 3 weeks straight. Her body ached in ways she had forgotten bodies could ache. Her feet throbbed inside her worn sneakers. Her shoulders carried the weight of every patient she had lifted, every family she had comforted, every long night she had survived on nothing but stale vending machine coffee and sheer determination. Sarah was 28 years old, and she was so very tired. The cafe was busy for a Thursday afternoon. Business people tapped on laptops. Students bent over thick textbooks. A couple in the corner shared a pastry and quiet laughter. Sarah watched them all with a distant sort of curiosity, the way someone watches a movie they have seen before but cannot quite remember the ending to. Her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at the screen and felt her stomach tighten with anxiety. It was a reminder she had set for herself 3 days ago. Blind date. Today. 3 o'clock. Copper Bean Café. She checked the time. 2:55. Sarah let out a slow breath and closed her eyes for a moment. She had almost forgotten about this. Her friend Jennifer from the hospital had set it up, insisting that Sarah needed to get out more, needed to remember what it felt like to be young and alive and open to possibility. Jennifer had been relentless, cheerful, absolutely certain that this man, someone named Daniel, would be perfect for Sarah. Sarah had agreed mostly to make Jennifer stop talking about it. Now, sitting here with exactly $5.37 in her bank account until payday tomorrow, Sarah wondered what she had been thinking. She had used her last $5 to buy this coffee. She had chosen the smallest size, had waved away the offer of a pastry even though her stomach had been empty since breakfast. She could not afford anything else. Not today. The cafe door opened with a soft chime, and a man walked in. He was tall, with dark hair that was slightly damp from the rain. He wore a navy suit that fit him perfectly, the kind of suit that spoke of money and confidence and a life very different from Sarah's. He paused just inside the door, scanning the room with careful eyes. Sarah felt a flutter of panic. Was this Daniel? She smoothed down her simple blue cardigan, suddenly aware of how plain she must look. Her clothes were clean but old. Her hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore no jewelry except for the small silver watch her grandmother had given her years ago. The man's eyes found hers. He smiled, just slightly, and began walking toward her table. Sarah's heart began to beat faster. She tried to return the smile, tried to look like someone who belonged in a place like this, someone who could afford more than a single small coffee, someone who was not counting pennies and praying her car would start tomorrow morning. But before the man reached her table, something strange happened. A barista appeared at Sarah's side. She was young, maybe 20, with bright eyes and a nervous energy. She leaned down slightly and spoke in a low, urgent whisper. "Excuse me, miss. I'm so sorry to bother you, but there's been a mistake with your order." Sarah blinked up at her, confused. "A mistake? I just ordered a small coffee." The barista's cheeks flushed pink. "Yes, I know, but," she glanced over her shoulder, then back at Sarah. "Please, could you just come with me for one moment? It will only take a second." Sarah hesitated. The man in the navy suit was now just a few tables away. If she got up now, would he think she was leaving? Would he wait? But the barista looked so worried, so genuinely distressed, that Sarah found herself standing and following the young woman toward the counter. Behind the counter stood another employee, an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He was watching Sarah with an expression she could not quite read. When she approached, he spoke gently. "Miss, I apologize for the confusion. When you ordered your coffee, our system processed a payment that shouldn't have gone through. We need to refund you immediately." Sarah frowned. "I don't understand. I paid with my debit card. It went through fine." The man nodded slowly. "Yes, but there was a technical error on our end. We're refunding you the $5, and we'd like to offer you anything you'd like from our menu, completely free of charge. It's the least we can do for the inconvenience." Sarah stared at him. This made no sense. Her card had worked. There had been no error, no problem. But the man was already handing her a $5 bill, pressing it gently into her palm. Please, he said quietly. Choose anything you'd like. Sarah looked down at the money in her hand. $5. The same $5 she had just spent. She felt something warm and tight in her chest, something that felt dangerously close to tears. I don't need anything else, she whispered. The coffee is fine. Really? The kind-eyed man smiled. Then perhaps something for your guest. The gentleman waiting for you. Sarah turned and saw that the man in the navy suit had indeed sat down at her table. He was looking at his phone, waiting patiently, completely unaware of this strange interaction happening at the counter. I'll have 2 slices of the lemon cake, Sarah heard herself say. Please. The barista packaged the cake quickly, beautifully, on small white plates. Sarah carried them back to the table, her hands only shaking slightly. The man looked up as she approached and stood, extending his hand. Sarah, I'm Daniel. It's wonderful to meet you. His handshake was warm and firm. His smile reached his eyes. Sarah sat down, setting the cake between them, and for the first time in weeks, she felt something other than exhaustion. They talked easily. Daniel was an architect, he told her, working on a new children's wing for a hospital across town. He asked about her work, and when she told him she was a nurse, his entire face lit up with genuine interest and respect. My mother was a nurse, he said softly. I know how hard you work. How much you give. The conversation flowed like water, natural and unforced. They talked about their childhoods, their dreams, the small beautiful moments that make life worth living. Sarah found herself laughing, really laughing, for the first time in so long. An hour passed. Then 2. Finally, as the afternoon light began to fade and the cafe started to empty, Daniel glanced at his watch and sighed. I should probably confess something, he said, his voice careful. I wasn't entirely honest with you today. Sarah's smile faltered. What do you mean? Daniel ran a hand through his hair, suddenly looking younger and more vulnerable. My name is Daniel, and I did want to meet you. Jennifer has told me so much about you. But there's something else. He paused. I own this cafe. The Copper Bean. I'm the CEO. Sarah stared at him. The words did not quite make sense at first. When you came in today, Daniel continued quietly, I was here doing inventory in the back office. I saw you order your coffee. I saw you count your money. I saw how carefully you chose the smallest size. He looked down at his hands. And I asked my staff to give you your money back. 2. Make up a story so you wouldn't feel embarrassed. I'm sorry if that was wrong. I couldn't let you sit here for our first meeting without being able to order anything else if you wanted to. Sarah felt her eyes fill with tears. She blinked them back, but they came anyway, spilling warm down her cheeks. You don't even know me, she whispered. Daniel reached across the table and very gently took her hand. I know that Jennifer loves you like a sister. I know that you work yourself to exhaustion taking care of other people. I know that you showed up today even though you were probably too tired to be here. That tells me everything I need to know. Sarah looked at this man, this stranger who was somehow not a stranger at all, and felt something shift inside her chest. Something that had been closed for a very long time began, just slightly, to open. Thank you, she said simply. Daniel smiled. Would you like to have dinner with me? Tomorrow night. Somewhere nice. My treat. No tricks this time. Just a man who would very much like to get to know a remarkable woman better. Sarah thought about her empty bank account. She thought about her worn shoes and her tired body and her small apartment where the heat did not always work. She thought about all the reasons she should say no, should protect herself, should not hope for things that seemed too good to be true. Then she thought about kindness. About a man who saw someone struggling and helped without making them feel small. About second chances and first meetings and the possibility that maybe, just maybe, something beautiful could grow from one very ordinary Thursday afternoon. Yes, Sarah said, squeezing his hand. I would like that very much. Outside, the rain had stopped. The sun broke through the clouds in golden streams. And inside the Copper Bean Café, 2 people sat together, holding hands across a small wooden table, while around them the world continued its gentle, persistent turning toward tomorrow.